Welcome to the top 10 fairy tale fights. I'm Savagezweipanda, and this is my list of the top 10 fights in fairy tale. Now, I kind of decided to rank these on basis of also as well, like developing the character, how cool the fight was, action scenes, etc, etc. Now, here's the thing, this is personally my list, so you won't exactly agree with everyone I've chosen on this list, but stay around to the end of the video as I've got something only you guys can do. So enough of the rules, enough of that, let's get started and go on first with number 10. Wendy versus Ezell. This is a very important fight for Wendy, as most of the time when she was involved in a fight before this point, is that she was just actually just there behind, doing the guards, doing the enchantments, but this was the first time really in the series that she got a whole fight to herself and actually handle one of the most dangerous people there's known in the Tyrus guild, known as Ezell. Things got absolutely crazy at this one point when Charlotte got involved and she was threatened of having her life being taken away by being eaten alive, and this subconsciously forced Wendy to actually activate her Dragon Force mode as she thought about all the Irrationals in the air and she was able to transform into her Dragon Force mode. Now, not only was this a really huge development for Wendy actually learning to stand up for herself and actually taking down a Tyrus member, it was the first time that we got to showcase like how exactly strong she is and how she can stand on her own 2 feet. Gotta say, it was because of this fight exactly that Wendy was now able to have better fights in the series, and she developed a lot more of the character than that just that scared little girl that just does the healing on the side. Number 9. The Light Alliance versus the Irrational. Now, this is including everyone that was involved in that first fight with the Irrational. I'm talking about Jura, I'm talking about Fairy Tail, I'm talking about everyone that was involved in like Blue Hekillus. They completely got bodied at the start of this, and this taught them well that they shouldn't fuck with one of the strongest people of the Baram Alliance, Irrational, and it was just going out. And the saddest thing is that we still didn't even see the true power of Zero yet, and to mention that Midnight didn't even get involved in this first battle and they got their asses handed to them. It definitely was a good showcase of the Irrational power, and the Light Alliance did learn this for future events and was actually able to overcome them in the end. Number 8. Natsu versus Future Rogue. Future Rogue definitely did bring a lot to the plate when he came out of nowhere in the series. Not only was he able to kill Lucy in the future to take out Natsu for a time being, whilst also as well using the Eclipse plan to bring out all his dragons, and able to learn Light Dragon Slayer magic, Shadow Dragon Slayer magic, and able to fuse them together at the same time, alongside with him being able to control dragons itself. It was a very definitely intimidating opponent. Albeit more, it's like his feats are being up here more than like what did Natsu really learn, or like any of the characters learn, or how they develop fight. This is more up on the list where it was actually that Natsu's just unparalleled rage to defeating this man. Albeit when it came down to it and he actually had to get Atlas Flame involved and they had a dragon or dragon fight alongside with Natsu and him fighting on their backs, that was a definitely very cool moment in the series. Number 7. Natsu versus Zancro. Now, if you want to talk about someone that gave a real challenge to Natsu, then we're going to actually talk about Zancro, the Fire God Slayer of the Grim Your Heart. Him being able to just stand there in front of Natsu, just take every attack that he was doing, even pulling out the big guns from the start. Natsu tried everything. He tried the roar, he couldn't even devour the flames. He even wasn't even getting, when Makarov blindsided him, trying to crush him, he still was burning his hand alongside with Natsu. And this forced Natsu to actually come up with a new technique, as we know today, that he's able to absorb any kind of flames, hence giving birth to the first Dragon God Slayer in the series. While Zancro didn't do any much feats after that fight, I gotta say the first round of him losing and then just the great part of Natsu shaking in fear because if anyone else got their hand on Hazy, whoever did this to Makarov, there was going to be a fight and it was going to be a bloodbath. Number 6. Grey versus Silver. To this day, even from the start of Fairy Tail, Gray didn't actually have that one standout fight, in my opinion, where he was like, yes, this is one of the best things in this arc, or this one like was better, or like had more emotions into it than say a Natsu fight or any part. But one of the most impactful parts of the Tyrus arc is definitely when Gray has to confront Silver, his own father. Gray at this one point has been known for his creativity using his ice make skills, but being confronted by his father, who's pretending that he's being possessed by Deliora and going against the insane feats of an ice double slayer, Gray was really put to his limits during this fight. Whilst this had a lot of more emotional gain for Gray than any other fight that he's actually gone against, this fight, albeit he did won, had a very bittersweet moment at the end of it, and is still to this day one of the best developments that Gray had, as his father one last gift to him, the Ice Devil Slayer mark himself to become Gray, the next Ice Devil Slayer. And I still think this is the best fight that Gray has had in the entire series. Number 5. Natsu vs. Gildas. This fight debuted in the Tenrojima arc, where Natsu was trying to attempt the S-Class exam. However, his first opponent out of everything that he had to go against, was the strongest wizard in all of Fairy Tail, Gildas Clive. Now, I absolutely love this fight for many reasons. Just the fact that Natsu absolutely loved this challenge at first. It's like, I get to fight the strongest person going at it, and just how Gildas is just not giving a fuck, that he's just barely using any of his moves, and when he uses some of this strength, it is just giving Natsu a run through his money, and the whole goal of the entire fight is for Natsu just to either move him a couple of inches. Even with using one of his ultimate techniques like the Crimson Lotus Explosion, it only moved him a couple of inches, not even doing damage to him at all. This was the first real showcase of Gildas' Crash Magic, and I've got to say the Crash Magic is goddamn awesome in this fight, splitting Natsu into many little mini Natsus. Also as well, Natsu trying to learn a bunch of techniques and trying to use different strategies to go against him. Overall though, it is compared to none, as when we get to see Gildas' true power level, and this is when Natsu for the first time accepts defeat on an opponent. Learning that it's okay to fear your opponents, like fear is something that you need to get out of bad situations, and also as well it is needed to grow as a character. And this was like the first time like Natsu like that for an opponent in the series. Number 4, Mirajane vs. Freed. The Luxus Invasion arc had many things in it. It had a lot of good, like multiple fights going on at the same time. But the one that stood out for me out of all of them was Mirajane vs. Freed. Mirajane up to this point was always known as the smiling girl, one of the main poster girls of Fairy Tail, and she was always the kind-hearted one, albeit we did know what she was like in the past, where she did a complete 180 and she was a bit of a bitch. We never really got to see the destructive power, only hints of what exactly Mirajane's powers were. But once her family got in danger and she started reminding of the situation with Bizana's death, she snapped. Using her demon soul, she was absolutely destroying Freed to the point where it looks like she might have killed him. And if you want to learn about true fear, then Freed was definitely experiencing that, using all his techniques, using all his runes, even trying to transform into a beast himself wasn't enough to even compare himself to the power that was an S-Class wizard known as Mirajane. Number 3. Natsu, Lucy, Urza, Gray, Wendy, and Luxus versus Hades. The final battle of the Tenrojima arc, where you get to see every main member of the Fairy Tail Guild going up against the leader of Rimraha, Hades, or the original second master of Fairy Tail. They had to pull out all the stops just to even go against this motherfucker. They had to pull out all the stops just going against this guy, even using Celestial Key magic, even using Fire Dragon magic, Wind Dragon magic, Ice Slayer, like it was taking everything. Even Urza, who was an S-Class wizard, was struggling against this man, and even all of them going at the same time didn't even make him real flinch like that. And they were screwed up until Luxus arrived and decided to take a brute hit for the team and giving Natsu the last part of his energy, so we can finally see the first time in the series Lightning Fire Dragon mode, Fire Lightning Dragon mode from Natsu. And only then, even with the Lightning Fire Dragon mode not even being enough to take Hades, it still took everyone's last effort to try and even take down Hades. And definitely a most memorable fight from the series. Number 2. Lucy versus Tyrus. When everyone got stuck in place due to Tyrus's effect that Margit activated on the entire guild itself, all but one person was left standing. Lucy had to go against many of the Tyrus members, including against Tempesta and Jackal, and as well trying to find a way to free her friends at the same time. Having probably one of the most emotional moments with Lucy is able to actually overcome is her using the great sacrifice of using Aquarius's key to go and summon the Celestial Spirit King. And even with the Celestial Spirit King going up against Margit and actually managed to free all of Fairy Tail, she even still today actually managed to get her own when she managed to go against Jackal Tyrus and managed to get that win on her. And albeit Lucy was extremely upset after this battle and actually had to get saved at the end by Natsu, she showed that she was a true equal with the rest of the Fairy Tail mages. Before we go into number 1, I'd like to give out some honorable mentions that didn't make the list, but they were very close to getting here. Julia versus Keys, Natsu versus Erigor, Urza versus Azuma, Grey versus Ultir, Natsu and Grey versus Margit. Number 1 fight in the series is Natsu versus Jalal. More for a stickler for this fight for a lot of reasons. Call that a little bit of fanboying inside of me, but I will explain. Just when we thought everything was lost after Urza's fight with Jalal and we thought the Tower of Heaven was going to be used, Natsu arrives to take down Jalal and finish off this madness once and for all. Jalal was truly giving Natsu a run for his money, and he wouldn't have even won if it wasn't the fact that he had to endanger his own body by eating Inferion itself. For the first time, there's something that we now know as Dragon Force. First time seeing this, and he just completely obliterates Jalal through this wall. But even still, all it took to even beat this man, it still had to take a death of a comrade to even stop this person once and for all. Still to this day, having one of the best endings of all the fights. As Urza thinks that she's actually in her deathbed, seeing everyone mourn her grave, Natsu pulls her out of the seabed. For the first time, she's actually able to cry. Here's my top 10 list of my Fairy Tail fights. Now here's the thing how you can get involved down below. I'm going to list all the fights that have been included into this top 10, and you guys yourself are going to vote which is the best fight in Fairy Tail. Even though it was my list on Fairy Tail, your list as well is important as well, and I'm curious to see what you guys want to vote down below. I've created a straw poll. I've given you multiple choices so you guys can choose more than one fight that you think is your favorite in Fairy Tail. Savagezweipanda, and if you enjoyed this Fairy Tail video, then why don't you click the like button and also as well the subscribe for more Fairy Tail videos in the future. As always people, thank you very much for watching as always, and I'll see you guys next time.